Yeah!
Love podcasts, hate nonsense. It's the PoliticsJOE podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Quite a muted clap from the crew today.
Yeah, not one clap.
I think Noam clapped, but
Well, did he?
I
Just checking.
I checked. I did look to see.
Okay.
Noam clapped. How are you, Ava?
I'm all right, you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks everyone for listening today.
How was your weekend, Ed?
It was good. It was my nana's 90th birthday celebrations.
Big one?
Big one. She got a tattoo.
Yeah? What of?
I've got quite a big family. And so in total, my nana has 15 grandchildren, 5 children, and then her husband, my papa. So she's got the number 21 in a heart
Jeez.
on her.
That's a lot of dependents, isn't it?
Yeah, scroungers.
Jeez.
Scroungers of my nana. Yeah.
Gosh, 21 dependents.
Yeah.
That poor woman.
There's someone worked out that my great-grandfather was an only child. He has 94 descendants.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
Only child.
He was an only child.
How many children did he have?
He had about 7.
So my nonna was one of 18.
Right, that's absurd.
Yeah.
Get a hobby.
But the war was quite helpful in that.
Why?
Well, they lived in Bermondsey under the arches.
And were they...
Yeah, it knocked a few of them out, yeah. How about you?
I don't think any of the siblings were killed in World War II.
That's because you were up in Scotland. Whereabouts were you? Where would they have been?
I think they were all evacuated.
Really? Where to?
Like, the countryside.
Where are they from?
Glasgow.
Oh, fine. Sorry. In my head, they were already like in the Scottish Highlands or something.
Why would you think
I don't think they were aiming for that.
No, they were from Glasgow.
Okay, yeah.
My nana was definitely evacuated.
You lot were really trying to get involved. Like, everyone down in London was like, oh my God, the Blitz. And you were like, we're here too.
As if they didn't bomb Clydebank.
Oh, shut up.
That's right. You're erasing the Scottish experience of World War II.
Yeah, okay. I reckon that you lot dropped bombs on yourselves so that you could feel a part of the action. I haven't had like a hate mob on comments recently, so I'm like really going off.
But I think that's so absurd.
Well, that's why I said
but
it.
it's like, it's not really based on anything. You're not really tapping into anything.
Okay.
I was about to say Scots aren't very sensitive, but that's not true.
That's not true at all.
That's not
you
true
bring up the
at all.
referendum and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's typing.
Preempting. Yeah, that's a good point.
Hmm.
Everyone, feel free to comment articles Ava should read about Scotland in World War II.
Cool. I will definitely look through them all.
Yes. Speaking of,
Because none of this was a joke.
no, you're interested.
Yeah. Are you going to ask me how my weekend was?
Probably not. No, how was your weekend? Oh, you had an interesting weekend.
I did. I've been barred from Slug and Lettuce, Romford.
And do you know why that's crazy? That was your favourite spot.
I know. I was
You
there
were
all the
never
time.
out of the Slug and Lettuce in Romford.
Nope.
OPSEC, reduced.
Yeah.
Tell me why. Why were you barred?
Very long story short. Long because I can't seem to contain a story. Anyway, we went there for a former colleague's birthday. I'm outside with producer Laura and production Joel. We're looking at this man being dragged out of the bar next door. Like he's being pulled by 2 security guards. It's really rough, right? It's rough and tumble. They throw him up against a tree. They're in his pockets. They're pulling out his wallet. They're searching for drugs. He's going, I don't have any drugs. But in the middle of all of this, he's being restrained by these 2 security guards. It's a sight where you go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Security cannot be acting like that. That's crazy. Police arrive. The bouncer from the bar I'm in, Slug and Lettuce, goes over. Suddenly there's an allegation that he's hit one of the bouncers. We've seen all of this. He hasn't hit them. So I'm like, look, I think we should go and tell the police officer. Like, we should do a counter statement here because he's about to spend the night in a cell for something he didn't do. Go over. I say, officer, can I just say this? You know, we've seen all of it. 2 other girls come up and corroborate my story. They're like, he did not. He couldn't have. He was being restrained. Anyway, the guy is searched by the police. He's got no drugs on him. And also, this allegation that he'd been hit had suddenly been dropped when the police were like, oh, we've got some witnesses here who say he wasn't hit. Do you have any CCTV? They didn't. It was dropped. When I went to go back into Slug and Lettuce, by the way, I'm like very demure, very respectful at this point. Like I am not involved in like the ruckus. I've just quietly had an aside with one of the police officers. The redhead bouncer is furious that this situation.
You're calling out one specific guy, the Slug and Lettuce from Romford.
No, that was the woman, and she then banned me from going into Slug and Lettuce.
So are Slug and Lettuce an op? Or is Romford the op?
I'm not sure. I just think that was quite a lot of jumped up security guards.
Security guards. I once where was this? In Bermondsey. I can't remember where it was, but a guy had been chucked out for he was being weird to girls and he was rightfully chucked out. But then I watched like the bouncers laying into him. Yeah. Like outside the bar.
You can't be doing that.
Kicking the shit out of him.
Yeah, it's not allowed that.
Yeah.
But then, they probably should take him outside and then phone the police if he's being weird to women inside.
But they were just kicking him.
But see, this is how they were acting with this guy. And I was thinking, this guy's about to be... He's already been rough and tumbled. Now he's going to spend the night in the cell. His girlfriend's there crying. Yeah. She doesn't understand what's going on because he hasn't done anything. Yeah. That could ruin his whole life. Mm-hmm. Just because a bouncer wants a bit of excitement. I think that's really frightening. Yeah.
Vexatious accusation.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Get Johnny Mercer on this phone.
Anyway, I don't think it'll affect my life very much.
Not going to the Slug and Lettuce in Romford.
No, I think, that I'll just have to kiss bon voyage to that.
Yes, if you're looking for Ava, she will not be there.
I will not.
Anymore. You were there every night. Shall we speak about the Conservative Party conference?
Speaking of getting kicked out, you looking forward to tomorrow?
Speaking of not being allowed in somewhere. Speaking of overzealous security measures.
Yeah?
What's been going down?
There's a lot been going down. There's been a succession of interviews that have delivered line after line after line. Should we start with Kemi Badenoch?
Yes.
Favourite to win Tory leader.
And thank God she said it.
Thank
She's brave enough to admit the scandal that has been swept under the rug for years, and people are frightened to speak out. Mm-hmm. Women haven't paid tax. Mm-hmm. That's why there's a £22 billion black hole. Mm. If women were forced to pay tax, we would not be in the economic mess that we're in at the moment.
If we all got the Nadeem Zahawi treatment, where we hadn't paid our tax and then we actually eventually did pay our tax, then we wouldn't have the £22 billion black hole, right?
Yep. You're bang on. Mm. I think it is obviously a mad thing to say that she's not happy with statutory maternity pay.
Look, we've got...
Existing, I guess.
I just think that mothers in this country have some nerve paying into the system. Mm-hmm. And then having the audacity to have a child. Because I think it falls in line with everything that the Conservatives have been saying for the past couple of years. This sort of move back to almost evangelicism, where they'd like to see the return of the nuclear family, and they're very concerned about the low birth rate. I think it makes sense to now penalise the people who are attempting to lift the birth rate.
Yep.
Good. Go after them.
It's a really weird thing to say, but I think it's especially weird because I'm not sure who she's trying to appeal to. Mm-hmm. Like you see like Tom Tugendhat talking about leaving the ECHR and you're like, I get it. I get what you're doing. You're trying to appeal to that cohort within the Conservative Party. But who are the people clamouring for the abolition of maternity leave?
Well, I've been thinking about this, Ed. And I've been thinking about how Conservatives are sort of looking down. They would like to see deregulation, right? They would like to see less of the nanny state, a smaller state. They'd like to see more laissez-faire politics, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think what we've seen in the past couple of weeks with the candidates, many of them saying we should leave the ECHR. Liz Truss today is saying that the Equality Act was the beginning of wokery.
Yep.
I think that they want to see a new era of lawlessness and vigilantism. I think they'd like to see total deregulation. You can have a gun in Britain.
Can I?
Isn't that a future you want?
Absolutely.
Because why?
You can drive without a license.
Well, look, and who needs an MOT?
Are you for it? Do you want a beer?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Do you want to be able to smoke in a hospital?
I should be able to unplug your ground's life support machine.
Yeah.
without any penalty.
Because she was still getting the winter fuel allowance.
You were wasting cash keeping your grandmother alive. I should be able to fly a plane.
Yes, I agree with that. You should be able to fly Rishi Sunak's plane.
Yep. I should be able to build wherever I want.
Wherever you want, apart from in a Tory safe seat.
Yes. I should be able to be a surgeon.
You should. And you could. If the woke didn't
That's
stop
something
you.
that, people don't talk enough about the IEA and their opinion of
No, we
medicine.
never talk about the IEA, do we? Wrote an entire budget for us.
Have you seen what they want to do about doctors?
Tell me.
So they don't want centrally trained doctors.
Yes!
They don't want medical degrees.
Yes!
They want anyone to be able to practice as a doctor.
Yes!
And the invisible hand will guide you to the best one.
Invisible hand!
So in a competing market, like say I have a medical degree and you don't, and we're both presenting to a customer, who do I want to perform surgery? I assume they will probably go to me. But if you're offering your services for like a few grand cheaper, because you don't have a degree.
That's the market. That's
it is the market. And
even King Charles enjoys homeopathy every now and again.
That's very true. We don't ever talk about how weird a guy he is enough.
Who?
The king.
Oh, the king?
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't. That's because I like to pretend he's not there. That's a fascinating revelation from the IEA.
Isn't it? It's like someone made the point that these people oppose regulation in the abstract, and then when we point out being regulated to practice medicine, they're like, I actually think that regulation is good.
Yeah.
Or like driving licenses or things like that.
But do you think we are just sort of over-regulated as a society?
Do
you think we've been doing things by the book for too long?
And we need to rip up and have a new rule book.
Yeah.
We need to abolish the state.
Should we just abolish the entire thing, the entire state? What would we have in return in place of that?
A series of city-states, some villages, some dukedoms.
15-minute doctor's courses?
Andrew Tate selling doctor's courses.
Yeah. I could see that.
Like hustle culture becomes about practicing surgery instead of like Bitcoin.
That's true, isn't it, in a way? Because anyone can become an economist. Look at Liz Truss. And look at Andrew Bailey, who we discovered today during her interview with the Telegraph at Conservative Conference, is actually the real power behind the throne. I thought that was an interesting point she made. He's in for 8 years. He's very difficult to sack. He's basically unsackable. And he's done nothing to improve interest rates. And look, if you think about the context of that, which was her mini budget.
What possibly could Liz Truss have against Andrew Bailey?
It's listening to her today during that interview. It was like all the hits.
Oh, it was good stuff.
It was
Trump.
Yes.
She wants Trump to win.
But she doesn't want Trump to win because she likes. Actually, no, that's not fair. She did say that she liked what he did on foreign policy. She said that he was very strong against Iran, and I think she probably mentioned them moving the embassy to Jerusalem. I imagine she said it before. But what her overarching point of why she wanted Trump to win was it would be the end of the leftist agenda that is worldwide right now.
That she says dominates the West, despite the right being on the rise in Austria, France, in government in Italy. You could argue it's on the right, reform are on the rise in the UK. The way she talks about leftism and the liberal agenda just does not exist in practice.
Well, also, because she talks about Starmer being the product of leftism, and is he? I would say no. It's
interesting that she's so popular with Conservative members. Like when you speak to members at these events, they still love her because they were her. She was their girl. She was their prime minister.
Girl.
And she was stolen from them by Andrew Bailey.
Yes, she was.
So, but they still hold a candle to her. But it's really interesting.
He should let her go. That's mad.
That it's really interesting that none of the 4 leadership contenders are courting her endorsement, and she's not endorsed anyone because they recognise that she is toxic to the public. Like, she's still a laughingstock among, like, to the public, and they're self-aware enough to not court that.
But which is crazy, because if you look at any of the leadership launches, any of them, all of the candidates who are running to be Conservative leader, one of their big promises was to cut taxes. Even Jeremy Hunt, who's not even running, he's just Shadow Chancellor. He was being interviewed today at a Conservative conference, and he was saying he's really concerned that Labour are about to put up taxes at a time when we need to cut them. That is Liz Truss.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, but that's Liz Truss's entire ideology. You know, okay, look, we can argue the toss about maybe she should have consulted the OBR or like someone with a calculator. But the principle is the same across the board. They all want to cut taxes. And I suppose if they associate themselves with her, then they open themselves up to the possibility of like people thinking, oh God, are you going to crash the market again like she did? But yeah, they all want to do it.
Someone asked James cleverly, how do the Conservatives win the next election? And he said, we need to stop the squabbling within the Conservative Party. And I think it's just so navel-gazing to say, well, the one thing the general public object to was our internal behaviour and not the way that we governed for 14 years.
Can I just ask you about navel-gazing for 1 minute?
Yes.
In my head, that's always about a belly button.
It is.
It is?
Yeah.
Right.
So there's things called, there's a metaphor.
So you're looking at your belly button?
As if like being like, it's like unproductive.
Now you're navel-gazing.
No, I'm looking, so it's like being like too introspective because you're...
Right. Because then I was like, I must be wrong about this. It must be something to do with the Navy.
It must be. It's looking at a telescope on a boat.
Yeah. I've never used it because I've been too afraid.
Are you going to use it now?
Can I talk to you about one of the worst things I ever did?
Yes.
Like I think about this before I go to bed. I think about it in the morning. I think about it all the time. I was on Sky and it was a really clever panel. And I'd been doing okay. And I was like, they don't know. You don't know anything about this.
You tricked them.
And I think in the panic of you trying to look vaguely intelligent, I said the word Shazam
instead of chasm.
And I think about it all the time.
Oh no!
Because all of them on the panel went like that, and I was like, write it out. Keep going.
I so wish one of them had got like said Shazam.
It's like it makes me like I'm burning up.
That's so fun. What was the full sentence, if you remember?
Oh God, I can't remember. I think I was talking about Iran.
Do you think you're thinking of the Shah of Iran?
I don't know. But it was just all downhill from there.
That's so
I
good.
got my shears and sunnies mixed up after that. I was gone. I was like, get the cameras off me.
That's so good.
Shazam opened up and I just
God, I hope Shazam.
Kills me.
That's not great.
No.
Who
do you think is going to win the Tory leadership conference?
Oh man,
conference.
That's the thing. It's like
competition.
It's still tight.
Yeah.
It's so grim. And tomorrow they're all giving their speeches at conference. So, but it's no one's lighting it up. No one's. They're all doing so many events, and they're all getting a lot of news lines. Well, I think Jenrick and Badenoch are probably getting the most news lines, and so they're competing with each other. But I wonder.
But look, they are the loudest characters, right? So you've got Kemi Badenoch, who's just sort of saying whatever comes to her mind, and then you've got Robert Jenrick, who resigned as immigration minister, if you remember, over the Rwanda plan, which
because it wasn't mean enough, because it wasn't cruel enough.
Exactly. So you think,
hey, I did not paint over those children's murals for nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We want Bobby J.
You're telling me there's going to be seats on those planes?
There's going to be windows and doors?
Yeah.
In my deregulated Britain,
yes,
we could put wings on a car.
They would be all over that idea. What's his name, the guy who runs Ryanair? Michael
O'Leary?
Leary? Yeah. I'm not going to shout Sean. What is it?
No, I thought about it and thought that might be racist to ask Sean.
No, it's one of their heroes. Over there, they've
one of their heroes.
It's literally like over there. It's like Michael O'Leary and Sinead O'Connor. That's it.
Okay, the Irish Mount Rushmore. Sinead O'Connor. Michael O'Leary, Michael Flatley and Bono.
Diana. Irish people love Diana.
Do they?
Yeah, they do.
Sean, do you?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So there's going to have to be five
An unprecedented 5-head Rushmore.
I tell you what, we put Diana. Diana's there, but she's not on the face. She's in the chasm.
No. She's looming over them like Christ the Redeemer.
Yes. She's shaking all their hands.
Her wearing the revenge dress.
On the end of the diving board, you know that photo when she's on the yacht?
Yes. Oh, that. Yeah. What sad. What a tragic life.
Yeah. Cool. Kemi Badenoch. On that, those sort of wild things that come to mind.
Yes.
Would you agree, Ed?
Oh no. Yeah.
Not all cultures are equally valid.
Absolutely. Irish culture is rubbish. Did you hear the Rushmore I just did? Those are the 4 best Irish people. Do I agree? No. I had to double check what she said. I suddenly thought, shit. Is it a double negative if I say no?
She...
So fucking hell. Sorry, the language.
The argument, but like in her defence,
Oh, what?
Liz Truss was asked about it later on, and she said she agreed.
Oh, good, great.
Well, I'm just saying, she's got mates.
Sorry, no, the language. We cannot be naive and assume immigrants will automatically abandon ancestral ethnic hostilities. What the fuck are you talking about? See, the thing is, the Armenians really hate the Turks because of the Ottoman Empire. What the fuck are you talking about? We can't let the Greek Cypriots and the Turkish Cypriots live too near each other.
Sean, who was it at Labour conference? It was really funny that they put 2 events like, next door to each other. Who was that?
The Saturday at 9 a.m.
Was it the Kurds?
Yeah, you had Labour Friends of Turkey at 9 a.m. and then at 10 a.m. you had Labour Friends of Kurds.
So if you didn't hear that, at 9 a.m. on the Saturday, you could go to Labour Friends of Turkey, and then at 10 a.m. in the same room, you could see Labour Friends of the Kurds. So we were imagining what the changeover was like when they went.
Do you know what they've got at Tory conference?
What?
Right next to each other.
I've seen that.
Conservative Friends of India, Conservative Friends of Pakistan.
Excellent.
And then just a contested area in the middle. Then a cashmere jumper store.
Right.
Who do you think the top 2 will be? If you can make a prediction.
Well, I mean, the reason why this is a bit more complicated than just sort of assuming who the membership would like to go for is that we've still got to go through rounds of MPs. When one candidate is eliminated, all of the MPs that back that candidate then have to pick their candidate, right? So if someone like Tugendhat is eliminated, I would argue a lot of those MPs would go over to James Cleverly, which would possibly elevate him into the final 2, right? But because if you look at the list of people who are backing Tom Tugendhat, I'm not sure how many of them would go for Kemi. They might go for Jenrick. But then if Jenrick's eliminated, Kemi's away. Kemi's gone. She's won.
Should we talk about...
Well, no, because it's still got to go to the membership. But anyway.
Should we talk about Tugendhat's naughtiest thing he ever did?
Invade Iraq.
He was like they were all asked what the naughtiest thing they'd done. And James Cleverly said, I also thought this was weird. James Cleverly said he told someone in 2015 that was watching online porn. Which I think is a bit too real to say. I think it's a really grim thing to say. It's like an adult man be like, yeah, fucking love it. love the stuff. But then
I've got a body in my car. Like it's, you've got a really, it's a little, you're meant to just say something light.
like it's quite sinister that. But Tugendhat said that it was invading Iraq, which I think is a pretty mad thing to say, being part of the invasion.
If we cut that out and I'm just laughing at that, then, okay. Yeah, no, that is mad. But maybe he's just not a Blairite.
Do you think he opposed the Iraq war?
Look, we only got that one quote, and I think, it's subjective. Maybe he was saying...
He didn't say he regretted it.
No, but maybe he was saying the naughtiest thing he ever did was invade Iraq because we knew there wasn't anything there.
We knew it was illegal.
Weapons of mass destruction.
The UN said don't, and we went.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yabu socks.
How long have we been going for?
29.
Boris Johnson's been at it.
Has he?
He said he was considering invading the Netherlands
Oh, he did.
to
Yeah, he
seize
did.
vaccines. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, vaccines that were destined for the UK. He was going to send the army.
He was going to invade the Netherlands.
I got asked a genuine question on the weekend when I was doing this paper review. I was talking about it, and the genuine question back from the prison. Do you think that shows a good judgment? Like,
It would have been it certainly would have livened up lockdown a little bit
if we'd invaded Holland.
if we were at war with the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think that would have been, bonus Holland, very flat, very good for a ground invasion.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they're all on bikes, aren't they?
Well, they're easy to catch then if we were on tanks.
But then I suppose if we get... No.
We could get motorbikes.
Well, that's
And then
what I
just
was
ca- just
thinking.
just
And I
catch
thought
them up.
that's what I was thinking. I thought that's too stupid. I'm not going to say that.
If we could destroy all their windmills.
If we know that they're all going to be on bicycles, then we just come in on motorbikes.
Yeah. Or we could there are faster things as well.
Can we just play this out? So, okay, do you want to be AstraZeneca or do you want to be the British Army?
Imagine you're the Dutch equivalent of G4S security guarding the vaccine factory, and the SAS jumped out.
Would they jump down or would we march over?
No, I think we'd be in a helicopter, shimmy down, in out. I don't think it would be a ground invasion.
How do you... Yeah,
Unless the vaccine factory was beside the sea.
we've got quite good... there's quite a clear trade link, isn't there?
They could
between us and-
get the Eurostar.
Because flowers that are cut in the morning from the Netherlands can be on shelves that afternoon
Yeah,
in the UK.
But I don't think we'd need to use the trade. I think we'd probably want to expedite this, so maybe not use
Quicker
the
than
trade
that, I'd say that's pretty fast.
But you can fly.
I know, but you've got to think about the rights of the workers who are transporting them.
I think we're invading a factory. I think so. I think if we're flouting international law and presumably a treaty of some sort, and our relationship with the Netherlands, and then probably at least the Benelux countries, they wouldn't be happy. And then the wider EU.
Would this have been before or after Ukraine?
Before, I think.
Because it'd be mad if we'd had I don't know, they were annexing down there and we were annexing up here. It's just absolutely nuts, isn't it?
The Netherlands has always been a county of England.
Yeah.
I bet. Do you know what? I bet there's someone at Conservative Party conference who believes that.
No, not the Netherlands, surely not. They've got their own monarchy or whatever.
Well, William of Orange was Dutch. So there must be some sort of ancestral title.
We're just saying things at this point. Well, William Orange.
He was
William
Dutch.
Orange. Yeah, okay.
So there must be some sort of ancestral, is the king also...
I think that's about as
The Duke
weak
of
as your
Rotterdam.
argument as when I say you can't have a second referendum on independence because James VI decided to come down here in the first place. It was on your own volition.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so something that Liz Truss said today about Boris Johnson when she was being interviewed at Conservative conference. She was asked, would there have been a different result had she been the leader of the Conservatives at the last election rather than Rishi Sunak? And she said yes. And she said that they would have done better. But she said the biggest problem was eliminating Boris Johnson in the first place. There is no development for this party, is there? There's no trajectory on which they sort of go. It's almost like they've got an abusive relationship with themselves. They're like, no, it was much better.
They're delusional.
They're delusional.
They can look at their triumphs and be like, well, that was brilliant. They look at 2019 and go, well, Boris was in charge. But then they don't think about his reputation in government, Partygate, sleaze, everything like that damaged him so much that the MPs and his cabinet felt compelled to bring him down.
But she is right. He is much more popular than Rishi Sunak. That was the nail in the coffin for the Conservatives. But it wasn't. The nail in the coffin wasn't ousting him. The nail in the coffin was his own behaviour, was his own conduct while he was in office.
But I think if he ran another election, I think a lot of people would still go, "What the fuck were you playing?" Like I couldn't attend my grand's funeral while you were in Downing Street drinking.
Yeah.
And that narrative, like, if they're pretending that
line cuts so deep, doesn't it?
Honestly,
It just doesn't. Doesn't shift.
It's the most significant event, of our lifetime so far. I hope of our lifetime.
What, when he was drinking in Downing
No,
Street?
like lockdown and like the coronavirus.
Oh, right.
And because it was affected everyone so deeply, and you just don't forget that, and people won't forget that. And I think Boris Johnson, as the face of that, is an image you will probably never be able to describe, especially because he doesn't seem to be particularly contrite about it.
Well, he's backtracking now, isn't he, on lockdown?
Yes. What's he doing?
He's saying that he's not sure lockdowns worked or ever work. I mean, good for him. As a former, newspaper editor.
Or is he get that back?
Columnist, sorry. He knows how to sell a book.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah. And he's got his big interview with Koonsberg.
Well, we're all, I'm actually really looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to that as well.
Liz Truss was talking about her book again on stage. And it was like, babe.
Yeah, reflogging it. Oh, it's here.
Is it?
Yes.
No, that's not her book. That's the Anthony Seldon takedown of Liz Truss.
I can't read. I'm thick as fuck.
She would not. That's not the book she wants. She did.
Oh, yeah.
What was it, 10 years to save the West?
Yes.
Yeah. Was it really only 10 years? Is that all we've got?
Yeah, 2034.
Really?
Yeah. I think
no, but it came out last year. We actually asked the publisher if we could interview Liz Truss.
What did they say?
No.
No, what was the line?
The line was excellent.
The line was something like
a brief perusal of your content.
I briefly browsed your content about Liz Truss. I think I can say categorically no.
I don't know what they're talking about.
No, I'm actually just pleased she's very good at her job, that woman.
She is, isn't she?
If she said yes, we'd all have been like, ooh, interesting.
Yeah. But then Liz Truss, if she really was a believer in free speech and she was really was a believer in anti-wokery or whatever, she would come on.
She would meet us in the marketplace of ideas.
She would meet us in the marketplace of ideas. I actually, it's rather cowardly. You could see Tim Stanley today asked her a question about pranks that were played on her. Because, she's had like a couple of, she was on stage a couple of weeks ago. And I think was it led by donkeys?
I think they unveiled a banner of a lettuce behind her.
Yes, it was led by donkeys, wasn't it?
I think so.
And she was furious about that. And she was talking about it today and she just goes, look, I don't mind pranks as long as they're funny. And it's like, well, they were funny.
That's the thing, that was funny.
It was just on you. I actually kind of understood her there because hear me out. If you're the former Prime Minister, you have Secret Service, gosh, what are they called? The close protection for the rest of your life because undoubtedly there are probably people out there who want to hurt you or harm you, and you're always on sort of red alert and you're probably given a lot of feedback or you're told about various plots to harm you that have been foiled. I do think that is quite frightening that a group was able to go in and install a projector a banner that could come down behind her and no one caught that. I thought I actually kind of did side with her. Not on the campaign group can do whatever they like. I mean, good for you. You go and led by donkeys, do whatever you like. But on side of her close protection and her own fear, I did get it.
Yeah.
Why didn't they see that?
I think that's interesting though about Led by Donkeys and that ilk of comedy or protest or whatever it is. Like previously it was protest, but Liz Truss hasn't been in power for 2 years. So at that point, what is the point of what you're trying to achieve?
I suppose there are a lot of people who have been are still feeling the ramifications of what happened of the mini budget, and I think that she was giving a talk in which she was being brought on stage as some kind of economist, and I think that perhaps that's
Yeah. And
I mean, there are a lot of people who have been, plunged into poverty because of her. It's not particularly fair. I mean, even like your rent, you're all right now, but even a lot of our rents are just totally out of control, and it is because of the mini budget.
Yeah. No. But I think it's interesting is that I wonder if/when they will move on to the current government. Will they start protesting those policies?
Well, they are very fresh in, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think for Tony Blair, it took about 3 years before he started
Getting
he
citizens
failed
arrested.
to curry favour anymore. Yeah, I think that it took a lot longer for the press and public to start. I mean, it was way before 2001 that people the press had begun questioning him.
Mm-hmm.
But with Starmer, he had about 3 weeks grace before it was. I'm not. Someone's going to comment on this, being like, "Sorry, can I just say, I'm not saying you shouldn't be questioning the Prime Minister."
But speaking of, Rosie Duffield has become the fastest ever MP to resign.
Yes. Would you like to hear? Do you want to talk about that a little bit, and then I will read you out the text that I got?
Yes. So what is it that Rosie Duffield said in her letter as to why she's left the Labour Party?
Rosie Duffield was particularly upset about Keir Starmer accepting donations. She was upset about the nepotism that was in the party. She couldn't look her constituents in the eye anymore, knowing that Keir Starmer was taking donations while also taking away the winter fuel payments. She said that the Prime Minister did not listen to her backbenchers. She was frustrated that newer intake MPs were being promoted over people who had stood by the party. Crucially, she did not mention any of the gender critical arguments that she has been making for the past couple of years. If you remember, Wes Streeting and Keir Starmer actually gave her a formal apology. Last year, she said she was in an abusive relationship with the Labour Party because they did not respect her stance on trans people. Do you see what Will Ferrell had to say?
About trans people?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
very good and normal.
thumbs Yeah.
Just like, hey, why would that bother you?
Yeah, which I think is the normal response. I think it's interesting. She didn't say that, and she didn't talk about gender criticism or trans people in her letter, but has spent quite a long time in the media now talking about that.
Yes, and it's all been about that now, hasn't it?
Yeah, so you completely undermined your own point.
The letter was the one of the best texts I got actually was a Labour advisor who said, "Why are the worst people making the best points?"
Wow.
Yeah. The first text that I got was "Good riddance." This is a Labour MP. Another Labour MP, very senior Labour MP, actually just sent one word, which was "good."
Gosh.
Yes. But it's difficult because there's sort of like, if you look into the factionalism of Labour, Rosie Duffield has always been an island unto herself. She's never fit in with the Corbynites, obviously, because she had a huge row with that side of the party for the past couple of years. And she's not new intake, and she's not ministerial bench. She's an island on her own, right? For quite some time, it was assumed that she would resign the whip after she had won the election. It would be interesting to see what the Canterbury Constituency Labour Party have to say about this now, because they backed her. And I know I spoke to a number of people who were attending those meetings regarding her selection, and they wanted her deselected because they said she doesn't represent the constituency. The only time the arguments that were put forward to them were the only times that she speaks in Parliament is when she is being gender critical. I would like to hear something on economic policy,
Housing. Healthcare that's not related to trans healthcare.
Yes. And so it was, the CLP ignored that. They still selected her. And here we are. You've now got a constituency that voted Labour that now doesn't have a Labour MP. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure that that's fair on the constituents. She was asked this question by Lewis Goodall actually on Sunday. She was asked, do you not think it would be fair to stand down and have a by-election? And she said, no, I know my constituents want me, they trust me, they want me to be here. And Goodall's like, okay, fine, have a by-election and prove it.
Prove it.
And she's like, no.
May I suggest some other motives for her resignation?
Please.
And I'd like to refer to the arguments of my guy, Duncan Robinson, in The Economist. Mm-hmm. He says basically because there's such a big parliamentary Labour Party now, who all have the same ambitions of being a minister, being on that upward ladder. And there are basically just far too many people for those jobs. So someone like Rosie Duffield would probably never be given that. She's never been in the cabinet under Starmer. So she's just gone, fuck it. You're not giving me a job.
This is the point that I was trying to make, was that she's such an island unto herself. She was never going to be considered for a ministerial role. But also because she's, predominantly because she's been so vocal. And that is not the type of parliament member that Keir Starmer is looking for.
No.
In his front bench. I think that the role that she would have liked is probably what Jess Phillips has, women and equalities. You're not going to be able to appoint her to women and equalities.
No.
Because her stance on gender ideology is such a tangent to what the party at large believes in. She can't represent the party there. And I think that, perhaps if she'd been given a committee role, if she'd won in the ballot on a committee role, maybe that would have made things different.
Yeah, but why should they pander to one person who's become like the toast of quite a militant, toxic strand of debate? Yeah,
I think. It's not. I don't think that is a way that you should be acting. The sort of. Gosh, some of the tweets that she was replying to over the weekend, it was just astonishing. I don't think it shows a care for your constituents or a care for parliamentary procedure to be spending your time on Twitter defending yourself for leaving the Labour Party when you've only just been elected under their banner a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
It's extraordinary.
Well, log off.
But it also means that it actually leaves a lot of people in her constituency, not just the voters, but also like the CLP, all of these people who work on the campaigns, people who work in her constituency office, it leaves them out of a role. They're now shut out from the House of Commons. They're actually just made redundant.
Yeah.
Which is extraordinary.
Yeah, it is. Should we call it there?
Oh yeah, sorry, was I being boring?
No, you were. Yeah, guys, Ava's fucking wrapping up finally. No, I think we're done.
Would you say that she was the most principled member of Parliament?
Yeah, I think that goes without saying, and I respect her. Who do you think is the most principled member of Parliament?
Tony Benn.
He's not current member of Parliament.
Oh, in my heart, he is.
The ghost of Tony Benn.
Dennis Skinner.
He's still alive.
Oh, should we just briefly mention that we're in the WEF now?
We are.
We're being uncovered by a former.
Oh yeah.
A former journalist has uncovered us.
Yeah, someone did a 65 tweet thread.
It's longer now.
Is it? God. About
our connections.
I didn't really understand it. She made the point that Carol Vorderman is appearing in a lot of media.
Yeah.
And that seemed to be it.
Yes. Well, she made a lot of errors in this as well. I'm really enjoying watching people try to understand the left ecosystem. It's like she did the 65 tweet thread and all of those people in that thread don't talk to each other.
Yeah. It's just someone was available to interview.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, just to let you know, very sorry. We have actually been bought out by
WEF.
Big WEF.
Yeah. Big WEF and Pfizer as
And
well.
Pfizer.
And Davos also got us.
They got us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're being paid in gold bars. Thank you everyone for listening. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube or rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. If you listen to us, you can find some good chat, some memes on r/PoliticsJOE. Ollie is still alive, by the way, just so we know. I know you'll be worried.
Is that the line we're going with?
Well, until we announce it, yeah.
Okay, cool.
But so we'll see you on the subreddit. I hope everyone has a lovely week.